So check this out. Did you see the study that this Harvard researcher did? He put people into this room where there was nothing else there. And for 15 minutes, they had two options. They could either sit there in the quiet, or there was this button that they could push. Now, when they pushed this button, they would shock themselves. And the overwhelming majority of people chose to shock themselves instead of to sit in quiet boredom. And so what these scientists basically were saying was that we have trained ourselves so much from the devices that we carry, from those constant dopamine hits that we get from social media and from scrolling, whatever news outlets we're scrolling, from the games that we're playing, whatever it is that we're doing on a screen. We've trained ourselves to not be able to sit in the quiet. We've trained ourselves to not be able to be bored. And what I find incredibly interesting is that whenever people do sit in the quiet, whenever they do allow themselves to become bored, what happens in the brain just naturally, because we've been designed that way, is we begin to think about big questions, the meaning of life, the purpose of our lives. We begin to analyze and scrutinize over the decisions that we made or how we can solve some of the issues that we're facing. But what happens whenever we're constantly distracted and whenever we're constantly flooding our brains with these dopamine hits is our brain isn't ever able to process that information that we need to process. And so eventually what happens is we get sent to the basement, right? We're overcome with anxiety, we're overcome with fear, we're overcome with depression, suicidal thoughts, even because we've never given our brains the space to think about these big things. And what does God tell us? God says to seek him in the quiet place, right? God says that he has hidden eternity in every man's heart. So I find it incredibly interesting that these secular scientists and researchers are saying that whenever we sit in the quiet and we sit in the boredom, we naturally begin to seek these eternal things. Yeah, because God has hidden eternity in every man's heart. So I would say, allow yourself to be bored. Allow yourself time to process, because as a believer, whenever you start asking yourself those questions, we can guarantee that we have the Helper, the Holy Spirit, to begin to bring answers to those questions. So seek him. Allow yourself to be bored. Turn off the phone, put down the screen, and sit in the silence and allow God to help you, because he will. He's promised it.